very, very well. Also, quite worthy to note, as you did just witness, there was no team preview, unfortunately. We have been provided this footage thanks to a capture card used on Igor's side. We're going to be seeing the lead come out straight away from Leonardo's side, which we're actually going to see a mirror lead, quite literally, in the form of a Lapras staring down a Lapras and a Talonflame staring down a Talonflame.
Yeah, I mean, sum up Series 5 in one picture. I think this would probably be a good candidate for that. I think Lapras is clinging on to, the kind of success it was picking up in Series 4. Trying to keep that momentum going. Obviously, Talonflame's a little bit new. And right now, I can imagine we're probably just going to see a mirror turn. Both players wanting to bring their Talonflame, wanting to make sure that, hey, I can play in the Trick Room as well. And both players bringing in the Lapras to set up with the Resonance and say, all right, well, I'm going to be going fast and I'm not going to be taking as much damage. So I imagine we're going to get a mirror here. I'd be shocked if either player deviates from that. And just, maybe the Resonance will hold off. I think the only difference we can get is if we get, a Geyser instead of a Resonance, and the Resonance comes later. That's kind of the only difference I'm seeing right now.
Yeah, I'll completely agree. We are going to be seeing the Lapras go ahead on Igor's side and get that Gigantamax form going. Whilst we are going to be oh, wait, actually, there's no Dynamax on Leonardo's side. Whilst we see the Talonflame on Igor's side, being able to get a Tailwind off first, followed straight after by the Tailwind on Leonardo's Talonflame. Oh, sorry, apologies. It did Gigantamax before, apologies. G-Max Resonance, like you said, Adam, is going to actually be able to come straight out. It's going to be a mirror of moves coming out from both ends. Picking up the KO on that Talonflame, quite worth noting, of course, because it is Life Orb boosted from Leonardo's Lapras. And a Max Lightning actually coming out from the Lapras on Igor's side, not dealing as much damage as it really would have liked. Does set electric terrain, but it was protected by that Aurora Veil, Adam.
Yeah, I think a lot going right for Leonardo there. When we saw the Gigantamax animations, we did get to take note that, hey, Leonardo's Lapras went first. That carried through into the turn as well, and he was able to attack with the G-Max Resonance first. Really good, knowing the damage calculation there on the Talonflame. You think you probably want to hit it with something like the Lightning or the Geyser. But no, he knows that you can just hit it with the Resonance. You'll get the knockout because of the Flying type. The Fire type doesn't save it from that. And he puts himself in a really good position with that Resonance in play, while his opponent, Igor, does not have that up. Igor, of course, does bring in the Dracovish. That could bring in a lot of problems, especially against something like the Talonflame. I think the Talonflame's probably not in a good position. You probably want that to try and leave the field. And the Lapras did take good damage. So Igor kind of being given the opportunity this turn to try and swing things back as quickly as possible. It's going to be important for him to keep up that momentum. Otherwise, I think Leonardo's going to be able to kind of start running away with it. The Tailwinds were matched. There's no problems there. Leonardo just firing off a Brave Bird to start this turn.
Wow. Dealing huge amounts of damage, of course, at the sacrifice of some HP recoil. Whilst Rock Slide does come out and does avoid the Lapras, but doesn't avoid the Talonflame. It doesn't actually pick up the KO thanks to that Aurora Veil, because that was a ×4 super effective move against it. G-Max Resonance on Leonardo's side is going to be more than enough to pick up a KO onto that Dracovish. Whilst now, finally, from Igor's side, we are going to be seeing the G-Max Resonance being set and destroying, that Talonflame as well. So Aurora Veil being able to be now in favor of Igor too. But I think Leonardo's just been able to have really good momentum going into this. He went straight for that G-Max Resonance. There were probably speed ties involved there, Adam, as well during turn one. So it could have gone either way as well. But we did see Igor did instead opt for Max Lightning rather than G-Max Resonance.
Yeah, and I think that both trainers have got into the same position, but it's just taken Igor longer. The Aurora Veil's up, the Tailwind's in play with one turn remaining, with another full turn remaining after this. So it is, nice to get it matched up, but Igor's now just a little bit behind the pace, and the matchup right now is certainly not in his favor. That said, Marowak doing a new trick to try and buy a little more time.
Wow, definitely buys time at least for itself. Wicked Blow comes out from that Urshifu into the Lapras, indicating that that Lapras is the Shell Armor variant, but Max Lightning actually allowed to land, indicating this Marowak doesn't actually have Lightning Rod, ladies and gents, whilst Igor's Lapras goes ahead and gets the Max Geyser off onto the Urshifu. Thanks to that Aurora Veil, the Urshifu does survive, of course, and very interesting turn of events and reveals of the abilities as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be great information for Leonardo going into games 2 and potentially 3 as well. To be able to say, you know what, I can't just start critting away and dealing with the Lapras that way. But at least he knows he can throw out electric type attacks, completely without repercussions. This Marowak going for Rockhead over the Lightning Rod. Not everyone's favorite choice, but bold, I think, of Leonardo to throw that move out anyway, and maybe relying on, oh well, if I land Wicked Blow, I'll get the knockout anyway. No ally switch this turn, so maybe his targeting's reversed, but no, he's called it pretty well there.
Yeah, he's called it very well, and he's able to pick up the KO onto that Marowak successfully from Leonardo's side. And we will be seeing the Lapras now go for the Thunder, which is 100% accurate during rain conditions, being able to just miss a KO. Huge amounts of damage, even through Aurora Veil, thanks to that Electric Terrain Life Orb boosted Thunder. Whilst we're going to see a retaliation from Igor's Lapras, does pick up the KO onto that Urshifu, and Igor is able to also take advantage of the Electric Terrain, boosting that Thunder, but does actually go down to Life Orb Recoil, giving Leonardo Bonanomi game 1.
Yeah, and it was always going to be a problem. I think it's pretty much confirmed at this point that Leonardo does have the faster Lapras, and something that is going to be really key if Igor keeps going, trying to mirror this Lapras and match the Aurora Veil, match everything going on there. So maybe needs to find an opportunity for a Tailwind that's not contested, but we'll see how it pans out in game number 2 here. I think the matchup kind of got a little dicey towards the end. There wasn't really many answers to Urshifu, particularly when you're relying on that Marowak in the back. So Leonardo's probably feeling pretty good about the way he commanded the game, I think. The Dracovish could have been scary, but it was barely given the opportunity to move.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's just that he was not given any options and any moves whatsoever to take advantage of its very frightening damage output that we usually see accompanied by that Dracovish. They do usually tend to run a Choice Band or Choice Scarf. We weren't able to see any reveal whatsoever because of the huge amount of... actually, we were able to see... It's confirmed not to be Choice Band, I think, because of the situation, but it did miss, of course, an attack on the Lapras. But regardless, we are going to go straight into game 2. I'm not going to be surprised if we see the exact same leads coming out from both Pokemon, and which we do actually see indeed, Adam.
Yeah, Lapras and Talonflame work really well together. I'd be curious if there's any changes, maybe, the targeting or throwing out some different moves. So we'll see. I really do think we're just going to see a complete run back of game 1, at least in the early turns. There might be some changes in the back. We do have to go through Dynamaxes, or in this case Gigantamaxes, from both sides. Nothing too shocking there. But again, Leonardo's is going first. I think, if you wanted any more confirmation, if you even had a doubt in your mind that you've got so lucky, I think you have to say, you know what, my Lapras is quicker. And that is causing a problem.
That is causing a huge problem, because we've been seeing, especially the Italian teams that have been coming out to the front during the past few weeks, opting for that very fast, hyper-offensive Lapras cores accompanied by that Tailwind. This time around, Leonardo having that Talonflame. And we do see Igor going ahead and getting his Gigantamax Lapras onto the field now. Maybe trying to opt to go for G-Max Resonance this time around, maybe recognizing that could have been a better situation for himself. The previous turn, it's confirmed to be a speed tie between both Talonflames, because Igor's actually moves first right now, and we do see the Tailwind coming out from Leonardo's side, but the Lapras does move once again. First on Leonardo's side, will be picking up the KO onto this Talonflame thanks to that Life Orb boost, and the fact that Igor did not actually get his Aurora Veil going for himself, because the fact that this Lapras on his end is seeming to be underspeeding Leonardo's Lapras.
Yep, but Igor using information from game 1 that actually Lapras with Life Orb can knock out Talonflame. The problem is with that is he's going second. He has to attack into the Resonance and the Aurora Veil that it brings, and he doesn't get the knockout. So just out of the simple fact that his Lapras is slower than Leonardo's, he's now running into a bit of a problem. when it comes to that. His option now is to bring in Urshifu, and Urshifu in front of a Talonflame, not the easiest thing in the world. Of course, it does have access to Sucker Punch, which can definitely help out a little bit there.
True.
But at the same time, if you're just taking out the Talonflame, you're equaling up the Pokemon count, but you're really not applying enough pressure to the Lapras on Leonardo's side, and he's going to get really good value out of every single turn of this Dynamax.
And we are going to be seeing the Urshifu actually going for that Sucker Punch. Well called, Adam, who will be able to pick up that KO onto the Talonflame, whilst we are going to be seeing the Lapras go for Max Geyser on Leonardo's side into that Urshifu. Does set up the rain, does not pick up the KO, and will be allowing this Lapras on Igor's side to probably be going for a Max Lightning to try to deal as much damage as it can onto the opposing Lapras, which it does. Deals a good chip damage, to be honest with you. Does set up the Electric Terrain, but that might actually be a double-edged blade, because Leonardo's Lapras, as we do know, does outspeed and will be able to get a Max Lightning Electric Terrain power boosted move off onto Igor's Lapras.
Yeah, I mean, now I guess the Lapras are both in the pole position, right? They have the Weather, the Aurora Veil, and the Terrainer. So all three of their moves are getting a boost in some way. I mean, apart from the Resonance is not getting a boost, but it's done its job, right?
Yeah.
So, these Lapras are really the focal point of both of these players' teams, and it just comes back to that core point that, Leonardo's is quicker, and he's able to take advantage of that a little bit earlier. We are now going to see Lapras and Urshifu from both sides, but just look at the kind of disparity in health. The Urshifu full health on Leonardo's side compared to, right down in the red on Igor's side. The Lapras, yeah, there's a little bit of a difference there, but as soon as Dynamax ends, you could start looking for big knockouts there. So we'll see where the advantages come. I think this turn is probably Igor's last chance to try and get back in the game.
Oh, wow. Close combat from Igor's Urshifu is going to be able to land first onto the opposing Urshifu, but does not actually pick up a KO or proc any potential Focus Sashes. Whilst in retaliation, that Urshifu on Leonardo's side is going to go for a Wicked Blow straight into Igor's Urshifu, being able to, of course, pick up a KO thanks to that critical hit. Even if it was resisting it, that Lapras on Leonardo's side does go for the Max Lightning, does deal good amount of damage onto Igor's Lapras, whilst actually the Lapras on Igor's actually going for a Max Geyser this time around, wanting to get rid of that Urshifu on Leonardo's side, maybe hoping the Pokemon in the back can better deal with this Lapras.
Yeah, and I think that, with the last Pokemon being Dracovish, you needed to get rid of the Urshifu, just because you didn't want to deal with a potential Sucker Punch. But that said, if you were trying to avoid priority, you probably didn't want to see Rillaboom come in last. Grassy Surge takes effect. The Dynamax is actually about to end for both trainers. So the Lapras on either side not given the opportunity to set up any more Electric Terrain by using Max Lightning. And that means this Dracovish, no matter how fast you make it with an item choice, is still facing down a Grassy Glide. Now, it's not obviously super effective, but it's still effective, and we know that it does a lot of damage. So it really is kind of Rillaboom deals with Dracovish, and Lapras deals with Lapras. So, Igor's Lapras lower in health, probably going to struggle a little bit here.
Yeah, I think Igor's just in a situation where his Lapras is kind of, unfortunately, not going to be able to do much, but there's not even going to be a Fake Out coming out. There will be the Grassy Glide, coming out from the Rillaboom instead into the Dracovish, and an Ice Fang retaliation, not picking up any sort of potential freezes, whilst the Lapras on Igor's side is actually going to be going down to the Lapras on Leonardo's side, thanks to that Thunder, which is 100% accurate all the time, leaving this Dracovish in a predicament and potentially in a game-losing situation.
Yeah, and the Dracovish, we saw its item in the little team select screen. The Dracovish now just locked into Ice Fang. Yeah, it would have been great if it could have picked up the Rillaboom, but it didn't. And, you can't get through Lapras with Ice Fangs over and over again. It's just not feasible. So this game is going to be called short. Dracovish not enough to fight back there. Certainly a tough ask for a Pokemon like that. But overall, I think a really enjoyable set from both trainers. I really like both trainers trying to execute that Lapras Talonflame as perfectly as possible. But honestly, the speed difference in Leonardo's being faster was just too troublesome for Igor.
Yeah, I think it's like you can understand a situation where you've got mirrored Pokemon. You've got a Talonflame and Lapras versus a Talonflame and Lapras. And if you keep on seeing your opponent's Pokemon move first, or at least in this case, the Lapras, it is an uphill battle. It's unfortunate. It's purely down to how the Pokemon themselves were individually trained. And Lapras on Leonardo's side, being able to have that speed advantage just shut down what Igor could do, because not only do you guarantee a one-hit KO onto the Talonflame on Igor's side, because there is no chance Igor's Lapras is going to outspeed Leo's side, you get the Aurora up for yourself, and it doesn't allow your Talonflame to go down. You already end up in a situation where you have more resources than your opponent does, all based down to the core fundamental situation of your Lapras being faster than your opponents, just like you correctly pointed out, Adam. And that is going to be able to allow Italy to get that +1 point in their battle against Russia.
Yep, really good play. Italy just showing off, they are still a dominant region, obviously having a fantastic go of it in this tournament already. So carrying on that trend for them. But Russia, still putting on a good show. A region we don't talk about much, and enjoyable to see some new players coming up and playing.
Oh, 100%. Because in the end of the day, this is what the European Cup is about as well. It's not only showcasing the top level players, it's also being able to bring the newer players and the newer countries involved in their VGC communities as well, and being able to all build together and try to get out game just that one bit higher, and try to make your team and your country proud as well. So very well played from both players. Leonardo will be able to go ahead and get that win. We're gonna go and cut to a short break, and next you will definitely not be seeing me, because the next match is going to be between Greece and France. It's going to be myself, Kostadai Dimos, versus Hippolyte Bernard. Ladies and gents, stay tuned. You're not going to want to miss this one.